Captain Hyunwoo sat in his chair on the bridge of the Terran warship Defiance. The stars outside looked peaceful, but peace was rare these days in the galaxy. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he did not care. The night shift was always quiet on Luna Station. The communication panel made a soft beeping sound. Hyunwoo looked up from his reports. The signal was coming from deep space, far outside human territory. This was strange. Very few aliens knew how to contact human ships directly. "Sir, we have an incoming message," said Lieutenant Park, the young communications officer. "It's encrypted with old Villani codes." Hyunwoo's eyes went wide. The Villani had been humanity's first alien friends. They were peaceful crystal beings who traded their advanced technology for human art and music. It had been months since anyone had heard from them. "Put it through," Hyunwoo ordered. The main screen flickered to life. The image was fuzzy and kept breaking up. Through the static, a familiar figure appeared. It was Ambassador Kara, but she looked different. Her crystal body, which usually glowed with warm light, was dim and cracked. Fear showed in her alien features. "Captain Hyunwoo." Kara's voice was weak and filled with static. "I am sorry to contact you like this. We need help. We need help very badly." Hyunwoo leaned forward in his chair. "Ambassador, what's wrong? Your signal is very weak." "The Thrakari Empire has attacked us," Kara said. Her voice shook with terror. "They have already taken 3 of our colony worlds. My people. They are using my people as power sources for their war machines." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew about the Thrakari. They were a warrior race that conquered other species and made them slaves. They were cruel and showed no mercy to anyone. "How many ships do they have?" Hyunwoo asked. "Too many," Kara replied. "Our military is nothing compared to theirs. We are not warriors, Captain. We are artists and traders. We make crystal gardens and beautiful music. We do not know how to fight a war like this." The transmission flickered worse. Kara's image was breaking apart. "We have sent requests for help to 12 other civilizations," she continued. "The Zanari Federation said they could not spare any ships. The Cosmic Republic said it was too dangerous. The Galactic Union said they would think about it, but we know that means no." Hyunwoo felt anger growing in his chest. How could the galaxy just watch while peaceful people were destroyed? "You are our last hope," Kara said. "We know humans are still young in galactic terms. We know your fleet is not the biggest, but you are the only ones who have ever shown us true friendship." The transmission cut out for a moment. When it came back, Kara looked even weaker. "Our planet will fall in 2 weeks, maybe 3 if we are lucky. The Thrakari do not kill quickly. They will keep us alive and use our life energy to power their weapons. It is a fate worse than death." "Ambassador," Hyunwoo started to say, but the transmission was failing. "Please," Kara's voice was almost gone. "If you cannot save us, at least remember us. Remember that we tried to bring beauty to the galaxy." The screen went black. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Hyunwoo stared at the empty screen. His hands were tight fists. "Sir," Lieutenant Park said softly, "should I contact Earth Command?" "Yes," Hyunwoo said. "Get me Admiral Dong-hyun immediately, and wake up Commander So-jin. Tell her it's urgent." While they waited for the connection, Hyunwoo thought about the Villani. They had been the first aliens to welcome humans into the galaxy. When human ships were still small and weak, the Villani had shared their crystal technology freely. They asked for nothing in return except human paintings and songs. He remembered his first visit to a Villani world. The cities were made of living crystal that sang in the wind. The Villani children had gathered around him, amazed by his strange flesh and blood body. They had been so curious and kind. The communication panel beeped again. Admiral Dong-hyun's face appeared on the screen. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. Behind him, Hyunwoo could see the war room at Earth Command. "Captain, I got your message," the Admiral said. "Tell me about this Thrakari situation." Hyunwoo explained everything Kara had told him. As he spoke, more people appeared on the screen. Commander So-jin arrived, still putting on her uniform. General Kim from the Defense Council joined the call. President Taehyung himself appeared from his office on Earth. "What do we know about Thrakari military strength?" Commander Sojin asked. "Too much," Admiral Dong-hyun replied grimly. "Our intelligence says they have over 50,000 warships. We have maybe 1,000 ships that could fight them." 50-to-1 odds, General Kim said. "That's not a battle, that's suicide." President Taehyung was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. "What do you think, Captain Hyunwoo? You know the Vallani better than anyone." Hyunwoo thought carefully. "Sir, the Vallani are good people. They have never hurt anyone. They shared their technology with us when we had nothing to offer them except friendship. But can we actually help them?" the president asked. "Can we win against the Thrakari?" "I don't know, sir," Hyunwoo admitted. "But I know we have to try. If we don't help the Vallani, who will? What kind of galaxy are we building if we let good people die just because it's dangerous to help them?" "Commander." Sojin nodded. "The captain is right. We cannot let the Thrakari destroy another peaceful civilization." Admiral Dong-hyun looked worried. "Even if we send every ship we have, the odds are terrible. Then we find a way to change the odds," President Taehyung said firmly. "Set up a full briefing for tomorrow morning. I want every option on the table." As the call ended, Hyunwoo stared out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, the Vallani were fighting for their lives. Somewhere out there, innocent people were being turned into living batteries for an empire built on cruelty. He did not know how humanity could win against such terrible odds, but he knew they had to try. The Vallani had asked for aid, and humanity would answer that call, even if it meant war with the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Lieutenant Ji-hoon crept through the dark corridors of the abandoned Vallani research station. His team of 5 humans moved like shadows, their black uniforms making them nearly invisible. They had been on Velen Prime for 3 days now, gathering information about the Thrakari invasion. The mission was supposed to be simple: get in, see how bad things were, and get out. But nothing was ever simple when the Thrakari were involved. "Movement ahead," whispered Sergeant Bo Young through the "Come." She was their best scout, able to move through enemy territory without being seen. Ji-hoon held up his hand, and the team stopped. Through his night vision goggles, he could see Thrakari soldiers dragging a group of Vallani prisoners down the hallway. The crystal beings were barely glowing now, their life energy almost gone. "They're taking them to the processing center," said Dr. Yunji, the team's specialist in alien cultures. "The Thrakari are draining them slowly to power their weapons." Ji-hoon felt sick watching it. The Vallani had always been so full of light and music. Now they looked like broken glass. After the Thrakari passed, the team continued deeper into the station. They were looking for the Vallani archives, hoping to find useful intelligence about Thrakari weaknesses. The archive room was huge, filled with crystal formations that stored information. Dr. Yunji approached one of the larger crystals and placed her scanning device against it. "I'm getting something," she said. "The crystal is still active, but it's encrypted." "Can you break the encryption?" Ji-hoon asked. "Give me a few minutes," Yunji replied. Her fingers moved quickly over her tablet as she worked. While she worked, the rest of the team kept watch. Private Minho monitored the hallways for enemy patrols. Corporal Jamin checked their escape routes. Sergeant Bo Young watched the main entrance. "Got it," Yunji said suddenly. "I'm in the main database." "What can you find about Thrakari military tactics?" Ji-hoon asked. Yunji scrolled through the information. "There's a lot here. Battle reports, ship specifications, troop movements." She stopped. "Wait, there's something else, something marked as classified human records." "Human records?" Ji-hoon moved closer. "What would the Vallani have about humans?" Yunji opened the file. Her face went pale as she read. "Lieutenant, you need to see this." On the screen was a report dated 50 years ago. The title made Ji-hoon's blood run cold. "Incident Report. Destruction of Human Colony Ship New Sol." "What is this?" Ji-hoon demanded. Yunji's voice was shaking as she read. 50 years ago, a human colony ship called New Sol was attacked while traveling to establish a new settlement. 50,000 humans were on board, including families and children. "We know about New Sol," Ji-hoon said. "It was destroyed by a stellar storm. Everyone died." "No," Yoonji said quietly. "That's what your government was told. But according to this, the Vellani knew the truth. New Sol was attacked by Thrakari raiders. The ship was captured, not destroyed." Ji-hoon stared at the screen. "That's impossible. If the Thrakari had attacked humans, we would have gone to war with them." "Keep reading," Yoonji said. "The report was written by Ambassador Kara herself, but from 50 years ago, when she was much younger." Ji-hoon read her words with growing horror. "The Thrakari have taken the humans to their slave processing facility called the Foundries. We have confirmed that most of the colonists are still alive, but they are being used as organic computers. Their bodies are kept alive while their minds are trapped in torture simulations." Ji-hoon's hand started shaking. 50,000 humans for 50 years. The report continued. "The Galactic Council has decided not to inform the human government about the true fate of New Sol. The humans are still a young species with limited military power. If they learned what happened to their people, they would attempt to rescue them. This would result in the complete destruction of humanity by the Thrakari Empire." "They knew," Ji-hoon whispered. "They all knew, and they said nothing." Dr. Yoonji found another file, this one marked as personal notes from the Vellani leadership. "Listen to this," she said, and began reading. "We have made the difficult decision to keep the truth from the humans. We told them New Sol was destroyed by a stellar catastrophe. We even provided false evidence to support this story." The notes continued. "We do this not out of cruelty but out of love for our human friends. Their rage burns too hot. Their love runs too deep. If they learned what became of their people, they would never stop until every Thrakari was dead, or until they themselves were extinct in the attempt." "My God," Sergeant Bo-young said over the comm. She had been listening to everything. "They've been protecting us from the truth." "Protecting us?" Ji-hoon's voice was full of anger. "They let 50,000 humans stay in slavery for 50 years? To protect us?" Dr. Yoonji found more files. Battle reports, intelligence updates, even video recordings. "Lieutenant, there's more. The foundries are still operational. Long-range scans show human life signs. Some of them are still alive?" "According to this data, yes. Not many, but some. The Thrakari have been keeping them alive to use as living computers for their war machines." Ji-hoon felt like the world was spinning around him. Everything he thought he knew was wrong. The peaceful first contact with the Vellani, the tragic loss of New Sol to natural disaster, the slow, careful expansion of humanity into the galaxy. All lies. "Sir," Private Minho's voice came through the comm. "We have company, Thrakari patrol heading this way." "Pack it up," Ji-hoon ordered. "Download everything you can, Doctor." Yoonji's fingers flew over her controls. "I'm copying the entire database. This is going to take a few minutes." "We don't have a few minutes," Sergeant Bo-young warned. "They're getting closer." "Almost done," Yoonji said. "Just a little more." The sound of heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. The Thrakari were large reptilian creatures that walked with heavy, clumsy steps, but they were also very dangerous. "Got it," Yoonji said, pulling her device away from the crystal. "Everything's downloaded. Move out," Ji-hoon ordered. "Emergency extraction." The team slipped out through a maintenance tunnel that led to the building's lower levels. As they moved through the darkness, Ji-hoon's mind raced with the implications of what they had discovered. 50,000 humans had been enslaved and tortured for 50 years. The entire galaxy knew about it and had chosen to stay silent. Even their friends, the Vellani, had lied to them. When they reached their hidden ship, Ji-hoon immediately sent an encrypted message to Captain Hyun-woo. "Mission accomplished. Have critical intelligence. Need immediate evacuation and secure communication. With Earth Command." As their ship lifted off from Valen Prime and headed back to human space, Ji-hoon stared out at the stars. Everything was about to change. When humanity learned the truth about New Sol, there would be no more careful diplomacy, No more measured responses. There would be war, and this time, humanity would not be the young, weak species that could be ignored and lied to. They had grown strong in the 50 years since New Sol. They had built fleets and armies and weapons. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you took human children and tortured them for 50 years, while their families thought they were dead. Ji-hoon had a feeling that the Thrakari Empire was about to face something they had never encountered before. Human rage with 50 years of interest added to it. The war room at Earth Command had never been so quiet. Admiral Dong-hyun stood at the head of the long table, looking at the faces of the most powerful people in human space. President Tae-hyung sat to his right, his face pale and drawn. Commander, So-jin stared at her hands, unable to look up. General Mi-young, the head of Special Operations, had not said a word in 10 minutes. In the center of the table lay a data pad containing Lieutenant Ji-hoon's report. Everyone had read it twice. Some had read it 3 times, hoping the words would somehow change. They did not change. 50,000 people, President Tae-hyung said finally. His voice was barely a whisper. For 50 years, Admiral Dong-hyun activated the holographic display. Images appeared in the air above the table. Pictures of the New Sol colony ship. Photos of the families who had been aboard. Children playing in the ship's corridors. Scientists working in the laboratories. Artists painting murals on the walls. These are the passenger records, the Admiral said. Men, women, children. The youngest was only 6 months old. Her name was Soo-jin Park. Commander So-jin looked up sharply. Park? Lieutenant Park's baby sister, the Admiral confirmed. The communications officer from Captain Hyun-woo's ship. He doesn't know yet. The room fell silent again. Everyone was thinking the same thing. How do you tell someone that their baby sister had been kept alive in a torture chamber for 50 years? What exactly did the Villani records say about the foundries? General Mi-young asked. Her voice was cold and controlled, but her eyes showed a fire that scared everyone in the room. Admiral Dong-hyun changed the display. New images appeared, these ones taken from Villani intelligence files. The Thrakari use organic computers for their advanced weapon systems. They keep prisoners alive and use their brains as processing units. The prisoners are kept conscious, but their minds are trapped in simulated realities. What kind of simulations? President Tae-hyung asked. The Admiral's jaw tightened. Torture simulations. The Thrakari feed on pain and fear. They force the prisoners to experience the deaths of their loved ones over and over again. Every day for decades. General Mi-young stood up so fast that her chair fell over. Where are the foundries? The Villani records indicate they are in the Krell system about 200 light-years from here. How many of our people are still alive? Admiral Dong-hyun checked his notes. The most recent scans show approximately 300 human life signs, out of 50,000. The silence that followed was different from before. This was not the silence of shock. This was the silence that comes before a storm. President Tae-hyung spoke first. Recall all our fleets. I want every ship we have. Sir, Commander So-jin said carefully, if we attack the foundries, the Thrakari will know we discovered the truth. They'll kill the prisoners. Then we make sure they don't have time to kill them, General Mi-young said. Her voice was like ice. We hit them so fast and so hard that they won't know what happened until it's over. The door to the war room opened, and Captain Hyun-woo entered. He had arrived from Luna Station as quickly as possible. Behind him came Lieutenant Ji-hoon and Dr. Yoonji. Captain, President Tae-hyung said, thank you for coming. We need to discuss our response to this situation. Hyun-woo sat down and looked around the table. What response? We save our people and we destroy the Thrakari. This isn't complicated. It's not that simple, Admiral Dong-hyun said. The Thrakari Empire has thousands of worlds and millions of ships. If we go to war with them, we're already at war with them. Hyun-woo interrupted. We have been for 50 years. We just didn't know it. Dr. Yoonji cleared her throat. There's something else. I found more files in the Villani archives. The entire Galactic Council knew about New Sol. Every major civilization knew that humans were being tortured, and they all agreed to keep it secret. President Taehyung's hands slowly curled into fists. All of them? All of them, Dr. Yoon-ji confirmed. The Zanari Federation, the Cosmic Republic, the Galactic Union, even some of the smaller governments. They had a meeting about it 50 years ago and decided that humanity was too weak to save its own people. So they decided for us, General Mi-young said. They decided that it was better to let our people suffer than to risk a war. Lieutenant Ji-hoon spoke up. There's more. The Villani files contain the exact location of the foundries and detailed scans of the facility. I think we can plan a rescue mission. Admiral Dong-hyun brought up new images on the holographic display. The foundries looked like a massive space station built into an asteroid. It was heavily defended, but not impossible to assault. How many ships would we need? President Taehyung asked. For a rescue mission? Maybe 50 ships, the admiral replied. But sir, once we attack the foundries, the entire Thrakari Empire will know we're coming. They'll mobilize everything they have. Commander So-jin looked up from the tactical displays. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Everyone stared at her. Think about it, she continued. For 50 years, the galaxy has been making decisions about what humanity can and cannot handle. They decided we were too weak to know the truth, too small to fight back, too young to make our own choices. She stood up and walked to the holographic display. Maybe it's time to show them they were wrong. General Mi-young smiled for the first time since hearing about New Seoul. What are you suggesting, Commander? I'm suggesting we don't just rescue our people. I'm suggesting we end the Thrakari Empire entirely. That's genocide, Admiral Dong-hyun said quietly. No, President Taehyung said, his voice growing stronger. That's justice. The Thrakari have been enslaving and torturing innocent people for centuries. How many other species have suffered the way ours has? Dr. Yoon-ji checked her datapad. According to the Villani files, the Thrakari have destroyed or enslaved over 40 different civilizations in the last 100 years. 40 civilizations, Captain Hyun-woo repeated. And the galaxy just watched. General Mi-young walked to the large window that looked out over Earth. In the distance, the lights of cities twinkled in the darkness. Every person down there thinks their government will protect them. They think that if something terrible happens, someone will come to help. She turned back to face the room. 50,000 of our people trusted us to protect them. We failed them, but we don't have to fail them again. President Taehyung stood up. Admiral, I want you to begin immediate mobilization of all human military forces. Commander So-jin, start working on battle plans for both the rescue mission and the full war. General Mi-young, I want you to coordinate with our intelligence services. Find out everything we can about Thrakari military capabilities. And the Villani? Captain Hyun-woo asked. They're still under attack. We'll save them too, the president said. But first we're going to get our people back. And then we're going to make sure that no one ever has to suffer the way they have. As the meeting broke up and people began to leave, Dr. Yoon-ji approached President Taehyung. Sir, there's one more thing. The Villani delegation is still at Luna Station. Ambassador Kara is waiting for our answer about helping them. President Taehyung thought for a moment. Tell her she'll have her answer soon. Tell her that humanity is going to help her people. Should I tell her about what we discovered? No, the president said. Let her find out the same way the rest of the galaxy will, when they see what we're capable of when someone hurts our family. As Dr. Yoon-ji left, President Taehyung stood alone in the war room looking at the images of the foundries. Somewhere in that terrible place, the survivors of New Seoul were still alive, still suffering, still hoping that someone would come. For them, they had waited 50 years. They would not have to wait much longer. Dr. Won-shik had not slept in 3 days. His laboratory on Mars Station was filled with equipment that had never been designed for war. Emotional resonance therapy devices sat next to weapon prototypes. Machines built to heal trauma were being turned into instruments of psychological warfare. Doctor, you need to rest, his assistant Boram said. She was a young engineer who had volunteered for the project when she learned about New Seoul. Like everyone else, She had not been able to sleep much either. I can rest when our people are free, Wanshik replied. He adjusted the settings on another device. How is the range testing going? We can affect Thrakari neural patterns from up to 50 light-years away, Boram reported. The new quantum transmitters are working better than expected. Wanshik nodded. Before the discovery of New Sol, his research had focused on helping human soldiers recover from battle trauma. His machines could detect emotional patterns in the brain and help heal psychological wounds. Now those same machines were being modified to create wounds instead of healing them. What exactly will happen when we use this on the Thrakari? Boram asked. Wanshik looked at the test results on his screen. The Thrakari mind is built around dominance and control. Their entire psychology depends on feeling superior to their victims. This device will reverse that. It will make them experience what their prisoners feel. You mean fear? Not just fear, Wanshik said quietly. Every emotion that their victims have felt. 50 years of pain, terror, and despair, all at once. Boram stared at the machine. Will it kill them? Eventually. Their minds will not be able to handle that much psychological damage. Most will go insane within hours. The rest will die from shock. Is that what we want? Wanshik turned to look at her. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, but they burned with determination. They have been torturing children for 50 years. What do you think they deserve? Across the solar system, other projects were moving forward just as quickly. On Europa Station, Professor Jae-sung was working on biological weapons. Before New Sol, he had been a peaceful scientist who studied alien diseases to help find cures. Now he was creating diseases that would target only Thrakari physiology. The virus is ready for final testing, his team leader reported. It attacks their respiratory system first, then moves to their nervous system. How long? Jae-sung asked. Death occurs within 72 hours, but they remain conscious for most of that time. Jae-sung nodded. Good. I want them to know what's happening to them. His assistant looked uncomfortable. Professor, this goes against everything we've ever believed about medicine. We're supposed to heal, not harm. Jae-sung looked up from his work. When I was a child, my grandfather told me stories about Earth's history, about doctors who had to make terrible choices during wars. He said that sometimes the only way to protect innocent people is to destroy those who would hurt them. He returned to his work. The Thrakari took our children and turned them into living computers. They deserve whatever we give them. Meanwhile, on Luna Station, Engineer Boram's sister, Colonel Yu Jin, was overseeing the conversion of civilian ships into weapons of war. The main hangar bay was filled with cargo vessels, mining ships, and research stations that were being turned into instruments of destruction. How many ships can we have ready in 2 weeks? General Mi Young asked as she inspected the work. 500 combat vessels, Colonel Yu Jin reported. We're installing the new quantum torpedoes on all of them. Each torpedo can destroy a planet. And the planet crackers? 12 are ready now. Another 20 will be finished within the week. General Mi Young nodded. The planet crackers were based on asteroid mining technology. They could split a world in half in minutes. Before New Sol, they had been used to harvest resources from dead planets. Now they would be used to erase Thrakari worlds from existence. What about the rescue mission? General Mi Young asked. Captain Hyunwoo approached with a datapad. Strike Force Alpha is ready. 50 of our fastest ships, equipped with the new stealth technology. We can reach the foundries in 5 days. And the prisoners? Dr. Yoonji has been studying the Thrakari systems. She believes we can free the survivors. But we have to move fast. The Thrakari will try to kill them when they realize what's happening. General Mi Young looked out at the ships being prepared for war. Each one represented humanity's transformation from peaceful explorers to something much darker. How many Thrakari worlds are there? Intelligence estimates about 8,000 inhabited systems, Captain Hyunwoo replied. 8,000, General Mi Young repeated. And we're going to destroy all of them? Every last one, Hyunwoo confirmed. President Taehyung was very clear. The Thrakari Empire ends. Not just their military, not just their government, the entire species. That's a lot of killing. Hyunwoo's expression hardened. They should have thought about that before they took our children. The door to the hangar opened and Ambassador Kara entered with her Villani delegation. The crystal beings moved slowly, their light dim with exhaustion and fear. They had been waiting for humanity's answer to their plea for help. Captain Hyunwoo, Kara said, her voice weak. Have your leaders made a decision about helping my people? Hyunwoo looked at the Villani ambassador. She was beautiful in her alien way, and he could see genuine kindness in her crystal features. She had no idea what humanity had discovered. She did not know that her people had been keeping the secret of New Seoul for 50 years. Ambassador, Hyunwoo said carefully, we will help your people. But there are some things you need to understand about how we intend to help. Anything, Kara said desperately. We are grateful for whatever aid you can provide. General Mi-young stepped forward. Ambassador, we have learned some disturbing information about the situation. It seems that the Thrakari have been committing crimes against humanity for much longer than we realized. Kara's light flickered with confusion. I do not understand. We know about New Seoul, General Mi-young said simply. The effect on Kara was immediate. Her crystal body went completely dark for a moment, then began to flicker rapidly. It was the Villani equivalent of shock. You know? She whispered. We know everything, Captain Hyunwoo said. We know about the foundries. We know about the Galactic Council's decision to keep the truth from us. We know that our people have been suffering for 50 years while you told us they were dead. Kara began to shake. We were trying to protect you. If you had known the truth, you would have tried to rescue them. You would have been destroyed. You made that choice for us, General Mi-young said. You decided that it was better to let our people suffer than to risk a war. Yes, Kara admitted. We thought it was the right thing to do. Well, Ambassador, General Mi-young said, you're about to see what the wrong thing to do looks like. She gestured to the ships around them. In 2 weeks, we're going to rescue our people from the foundries. Then we're going to save your people from the Thrakari. And then we're going to hunt down every Thrakari in the galaxy and make them pay for what they've done. Kara stared at the war machines surrounding her. You mean to destroy them all? Every last one, Captain Hyunwoo confirmed. And when we're done, the galaxy will know that humanity protects its own. No matter how long it takes, no matter what the cost. This is not the humanity we knew, Kara said softly. No, General Mi-young agreed. This is the humanity you created when you decided our children's lives were an acceptable sacrifice for galactic peace. As the Villani delegation left the hangar, Captain Hyunwoo looked back at the ships being prepared for war. In 5 days, Strike Force Alpha would reach the foundries. They would finally learn what had happened to the survivors of New Seoul. And then the real war would begin. The galaxy had spent 50 years making decisions about what humanity could and could not handle. Soon, they would learn the cost of those decisions. The Thrakari Empire had ruled through fear for centuries. They were about to discover what real fear looked like. The foundries hung in space like a metal cancer, built into an asteroid the size of a small moon. Captain Hyunwoo watched it through the bridge windows of his flagship as Strike Force Alpha approached. 50 human ships moved in perfect formation, their stealth systems making them invisible to Thrakari sensors. Scanning now, reported Lieutenant Park, his communications officer. I'm detecting human life signs. Weak, but definitely human. Hyunwoo's hands tightened on his command chair. How many? 297 confirmed, Park replied. His voice shook slightly. He still did not know that his baby sister might be among the prisoners. Begin the assault, Hyunwoo ordered. The human ships dropped their stealth and opened fire, all at once. Quantum torpedoes smashed into the Thrakari defense stations. Laser cannons cut through their hull armor like paper. The attack was so sudden and overwhelming that the Thrakari barely had time to sound an alarm. Boarding teams go, Hyunwoo commanded. Lieutenant Ji-hoon led the first wave of soldiers into the foundries through hull breaches. What they found inside was worse than anything in the intelligence reports. The corridors were lined with transparent pods, each one containing a human prisoner. Tubes and wires ran from the pods to massive computers that controlled Thrakari weapons across the galaxy. "My God," whispered Sergeant Bo Young as she saw the nearest pod. Inside was an elderly man, his body kept alive by machines while his mind was trapped in whatever nightmare the Thrakari had created for him. "Start cutting them out," Jihoon ordered. "Medics, be ready." Dr. Yunji worked quickly to disconnect the first pod. As the life support systems shut down, the man inside began to wake up. His eyes opened slowly, filled with confusion and terror. "It's okay," Dr. Yunji said gently. "You're safe now. We're humans, we've come to take you home." The man stared at her for a long moment. Then he began to cry. "Home?" he whispered. I thought I would never see home again." "What's your name?" Dr. Yunji asked. "Sung Min," the man replied. "I was the colony leader on New Seoul. How long has it been?" 50 years, Dr. Yunji said softly. Sung Min closed his eyes. 50 years of watching my granddaughter die over and over again. They made me see it every day. Little Soo-jin, only 3 years old, and they made me watch her die 1,000 different ways. Dr. Yunji felt tears running down her face. "We're going to get you all out of here, I promise." Across the facility, human soldiers were freeing more prisoners. Each pod they opened revealed another survivor of New Seoul, kept alive for decades of torture. Some were barely conscious. Others screamed when they woke up, thinking they were still trapped in the simulations. "Ji-hoon," came Captain Hyunwoo's voice over the comm. "Status report." "We've freed 90 prisoners so far," Ji-hoon replied. "But Captain, you need to see what's in the main computer core." Ji-hoon led a team deeper into the foundries to the central processing center. What they found there made even the hardened soldiers stop and stare. The room was filled with hundreds of smaller pods, each one containing a human child. "The children," Ji-hoon whispered into his comm. "They kept the children separate." Dr. Yunji ran to the nearest pod. Inside was a young girl, maybe 8 years old. According to the display, she had been in the pod for 50 years, but the Thrakari technology had kept her body from aging. "This is Soo-jin Park," Dr. Yunji said, reading the nameplate. "Lieutenant Park's sister." As they freed the children, the true horror of the foundries became clear. The Thrakari had been using the adults as computers, but the children served a different purpose. They were used to create the torture simulations that broke the adults' minds. The children's imaginations were turned into weapons against their own families. "How many children?" Captain Hyunwoo asked over the comm. 112, Ji-hoon reported. "All of them from New Seoul. Get them out. Get them all out, now." As the rescue continued, something unexpected happened. The freed prisoners began to ask questions about what was happening to the Thrakari. When they learned about humanity's plan to destroy the entire empire, their reactions surprised everyone. "Good," said Sung Min, the former colony leader. "Every last one of them should die." "You don't understand," Dr. Yunji said. "We're talking about genocide. Billions of beings." Sung Min looked at her with eyes that had seen 50 years of horror. "Do you know what they made me watch? They made me see my granddaughter being tortured to death over and over again for 50 years. Every day, every hour, every minute." He gestured to the children being carried out on stretchers. They turned these children into weapons against their own parents. They made them create the nightmares that drove us insane. But genocide is exactly what they deserve. Sung Min finished. "If you let even one of them live, they will do this to someone else's children. Promise me you won't stop until they're all gone." Similar conversations were happening throughout the rescue operation. Every freed prisoner, when they learned about humanity's war plans, begged them not to show mercy to the Thrakari. As the last prisoners were evacuated, Captain Hyunwoo received word that the main Thrakari fleet was approaching. But he was not worried. This had always been part of the plan. "All ships withdraw to safe distance," he ordered. "Activate the special package." Hidden among the rescue ships was a single vessel carrying Dr. Wanshik's psychological warfare device. As the Thrakari fleet arrived to retake the foundries, the device activated. The effect was immediate. Across the Thrakari fleet, soldiers began screaming. Their minds were suddenly flooded with 50 years of human pain and terror. Everything their prisoners had felt they now experienced all at once. Thrakari warships began firing on each other as their crews went insane. Command structures collapsed as officers killed themselves rather than endure another second of the psychological torture. Within an hour, the entire fleet was destroyed not by human weapons but by their own madness. Signal from Earth Command, Lieutenant Park reported. Admiral Dong Hyun says Operation Reckoning is beginning. Across human space, the largest military force in Earth's history was launching. Not just the rescue fleet, but thousands of ships, carrying planet crackers, biological weapons, and Dr. Wanshik's psychological warfare devices. The war that followed was not really a war. It was an extermination. The Thrakari Empire had ruled through fear for centuries, but they had never faced anything like human rage combined with 50 years of accumulated hatred. Human fleets moved from system to system with mechanical precision. They did not try to capture Thrakari worlds. They did not offer terms of surrender. They simply erased every trace of Thrakari civilization from the galaxy. The biological weapons designed by Professor Jae Sung ensured that no Thrakari could hide or escape. The psychological warfare devices drove survivors insane before they could flee. The planet crackers destroyed their worlds so completely that future archaeologists would never know they had existed. The galaxy watched in horror as humanity systematically destroyed an entire species. The same civilizations that had refused to help the Vellani now begged humanity to show mercy to the Thrakari. President Taehyung's response was broadcast across all known space. Where was your mercy 50 years ago when human children were being tortured? Where was your compassion when you decided our people's suffering was acceptable? You taught us that mercy is a luxury the galaxy cannot afford. We have learned that lesson well. The war lasted exactly 30 days. On the 31st day, Captain Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of his ship in orbit around the last Thrakari world. Below them, the planet was already dying from biological weapons. The few surviving Thrakari had sent a final message begging for mercy. Should we respond, sir? Lieutenant Park asked. Hyun-woo thought about the prisoners they had rescued from the foundries. He thought about little Soo-jin Park, who was now in a medical facility, learning to trust humans again after 50 years of horror. He thought about Sungmin, who still woke up screaming every night. No response, Hyun-woo said. Activate the planet cracker. The last Thrakari world split apart like a broken egg. With it died the final members of a species that had ruled through cruelty for 1,000 years. As human fleets began returning home, they brought news that the Vellani had been saved. But saving the Vellani had been easy compared to destroying the Thrakari. The galaxy was learning that humanity could be the greatest protectors in known space, or the most terrible destroyers. There would be no more neutral observers. No more species that stood by while others suffered, because everyone now knew what happened when you made humanity choose between mercy and justice. They would choose justice every time, and justice, once denied, would be collected with 50 years of interest.